Familia, I have a question for all of you this week. Is wellness culture making us sick more than healthy? We're going to talk about everything related to wellness culture, like workout obsessions, and many other things, so stay tuned for more.
Hey Enzo. Oh, this is probably too long for a voice note.
Hey Claire, I know. Save it for the podcast.
Your space for an unfiltered and candid conversation.
Skip the small talk and dive in deep. Hola familia.
Hello.
Welcome to episode number 6.
Number 6, I can barely believe it.
How can I barely believe it? Can you believe it, guys? It's been like 6 episodes. That's like
6 weeks.
Time flew by.
This first quarter of the year is flying. Do you find that?
It is. It's kind of like a blur as well, because it's kind of
definitely.
Boom. But we are getting there. We are releasing the episodes. Thank you everyone who is listening to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Catching up. Like, we're so excited with this season. Speaking of exciting things, we want to mention, like, this week we have like this beautiful t-shirts from this brand called Nordiski.
Yes.
This brand is actually a Venezuelan brand. They're based in Oxford, the UK. But yeah, they were like kind enough to send us these beautiful, honestly, they're
so
really
lovely.
Beautiful t-shirts. All the designs are about like Venezuelan culture, but also the Caribbean overall.
Yeah.
And I think even if you're not from the Caribbean or Latin American or Venezuela, you can really enjoy the designs.
Definitely.
They have like phone case t-shirts, and yeah, the quality is so
I love
nice.
it. I love this pink.
What do you have?
I have little toucans in a really nice pink, which I'm really loving. This like bright, strong. I don't have a lot of items like
it really
this
suits
color,
you.
and I really like it.
Yeah, I really like the design.
Very beautiful. And you have
the Orinoco, which is one of the longest rivers in Latin America.
Beautiful.
Go across Venezuela.
I would love
a bit
to see
Colombia.
that. I bet it's stunning.
Yeah, it must be really stunning. I really love it because it's kind of like, it's very like artistic.
Definitely.
You know, it's very like
with like the sun and the river and like the sky
very cute.
and everything.
So definitely it's a brand to check them out.
Thank you guys so much for sending us these t-shirts.
We're
really,
gonna put
really love
down
them.
here on the description of the episode, like, and all of our socials, where you can get them, we can buy their stuff and follow them.
Definitely.
So please support them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. This is my week, so we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk, Claire.
What are we gonna talk about, Enzo?
My topic this week is weirdly connected with your topic from last week. You know, last week, if you didn't listen to the previous episode, you should go and listen to it. And if you did,
what are you doing if you're not?
what are you doing? You're live. Like, come on. Like, too much coffee, guys. But you didn't even have a coffee. What are you having? Actually, tell us before starting. What are you drinking today?
I have mushroom coffee. Well, it's not, because I really resent that when people say like, replace your coffee with mushroom coffee. Please. I'm like, please. This is not quite a replacement. This is like a later in the day bump. It's from Dirty, and actually Enzo gifted me a few sachets, and I loved it so much. It's like a mix of cacao and lots of medical mushrooms, which are great for your skin, for your brain, for your immunity.
They're getting quite famous now, and they have like a lot of varieties and shapes and like different
they do have a
presentations.
Coffee. They have an actual like coffee. This is not the coffee. This is called cacao, and then they have a matcha, I believe, and this is delicious.
Very like ritual.
Yeah,
like cacao. We went to a cacao ritual once.
We did.
So it's a bit like a ritual.
Definitely,
like,
and it just gives you that kind of like boost, like a matcha. But not quite as extreme as a coffee. But it's delicious.
Love it.
And you're drinking
a regular, traditional. Well, I mean, it has cashew milk. Actually, it's not traditional. It's a cashew milk latte. Okay. But I did my coffee. This is my second one of the day, so
that's fine.
Anyway. And this is a topic I have in my mind to speak with you for a really long time. So it's funny, like I'm bringing this today. Well, last week you were the other one, but anyway, I want to talk about a bit of like working out, wellness culture, and this. It could be a bit controversial. I feel this topic, so I want to know your thoughts about it. And I want to start like, I feel like there's something like for a really long time like getting out from social media and everywhere. Like I feel like a lot of people feels a lot of pride. Out of working out and being into the wellness and being like really taking care of yourself, and sometimes I feel it can be, I don't know, it gives me a vibe sometimes it could be more negative than positive. And I want to just explore this topic with you. So what are your initial thoughts about, like, maybe do you think maybe our society right now are very obsessed with working out and taking care of their own selves and like being healthy, whatever that means?
I think it's interesting. It's funny you bring this up actually, because I did have another topic around this planned for maybe like later on in the season, or
you don't have it
exactly
anymore.
No, I don't have it because it's gone. But it's interesting because I've been thinking a lot about how wellness is going quite far, and how I've been feeling recently like very overwhelmed by, and it's kind of related once again, like you say, to this 5 a.m. thing, but sometimes I've been, because I follow a lot of like wellness girlies and a lot of, I'm interested in all of that. I was vegan for so long. Now I'm basically vegetarian, but I'm into like obviously working out and fitness and all of that stuff. But I sometimes feel I've been getting like this real overload of like, okay, you have to remember not to put your food in plastic. Okay, you have to remember to, if you are going to eat dairy, it has to be organic. Make sure berries have to be organic. Greens, definitely organic for sure. Let's sort out the water situation, because actually Brita is terrible, and you need to get water from like the thing, and then you need to like change your shower filter because that's really bad. And then the stress of like, then you need to meditate, and then you need to like, it's melatonin. All of this stuff has been making me feel really overwhelmed.
I think at the core of it, it could be all good, and it could be like good trends and good thing. And we spoke about this in the podcast before, like how sometimes trends can be great, and how like being healthy, being a trend is actually good. But I think it's really important to what you were saying, like how it's creating like a new layer of stress, and how a lot of people, like if you are on social media, like you will see like so many people bombarding you with all the things you should do right to not basically die sooner or whatever. All the type of workouts you need to do to be in your best fitness level. All the little steps you need to do every single day to be at its best possible. And I think like this is creating such like a new wave of issues like that. And it's funny that you mentioned the mental health, because it's been one of the things when I was researching about this, like they're mentioning like how it's backfiring like on mental health.
Tell us more, Enzo.
So I'm gonna go to my notes now. I'm gonna link, as we always do, we're gonna link all the on the bottom of the episode, like, but this is like an interesting article I found like in a Days Digital. Days and Confused magazine. They have a Days Digital, which is the digital version of it. So basically, there's a book called A Body Made of Glass by Carolina Crampton, and she did this article in Days talking about the book and all different things, and it was all around like how wellness culture is making us worried sick, which is what you were mentioning. And they were saying like how like this obsession with wellness has exacerbated this existing anxiety on people. If you're an anxious person, all this wellness culture is making you feel more anxious, right? And how we're becoming really obsessed and fixated to tracking like our health data, our Apple Watch, and making sure like, oh my God, if I'm getting more palpitations, what's going on? Am I sick? Am I not? And it felt like it was, this article also talks about like how consuming all this content in social media is just making anxiety worse, and how like, this is a quote from the book. It says like, it felt like I was helping myself. This is like a quote of like how all of this content in social media about wellness and being healthy is actually being affecting the person. So it's saying like, it felt like I was helping myself, but really all I was doing was throwing more money into the wellness industry, which you mentioned in the previous episode a bit, and capitalism, all of that, and wasting my time online rather than doing things that can actually make me feel good. What I found about this is kind of like, we kind of stepping in this moment in time that we're spending so much time thinking or like getting all this information what we should do right, and it kind of can paralyze you as well. And instead of like doing things that can make you feel healthy, like cooking healthy stuff or doing things that are good for you, you're just worrying about all of this stuff. So it's kind of like it's a vicious cycle. Like it's actually being really hurtful instead of helping us.
I have endometriosis. I've been very open about that. Something that can go along with endometriosis is hormone balancing, because they think that it might be caused by a hormone imbalance. So I try to focus a lot on hormone balancing. But then a lot of the workouts that I typically love to do, like I love quite hard workouts, they say like, that's really bad because it puts your body under stress and you should focus more on yoga, which I also love, but I love like hot yoga.
Have your body in a calm state.
And it can be quite stressful, because for me, like doing a HIIT class, you know, that will make me feel really good. It's good cardio and also strength and all of that stuff. But then also I sometimes feel funny about doing it because I know like that could potentially like spike my cortisol and therefore like affect my hormones.
Interesting, yeah.
And then I kind of have like a bit of negativity. It's like what you're saying. Like it's not, I feel kind of, I don't want to say ashamed, but I feel like am I letting myself down because I like that really like that burn feeling, you know?
It's again, like you have all these messages of things that, this could be, I don't know. It's not like, I'm not going to say like doing like any type of cardio, any class is bad or good. It's just like maybe we get all this information all the time that we should do these things. And maybe even though you want to do it, if you don't do it, you're like, oh, but maybe I should do it because I see all the time that it's really healthy. But then actually you are in this like battle within yourself. Like, is it healthy for me or not?
True.
So it's a bit like that, how we are. And this, I feel like this is connecting all of this because I wanted to talk about a bit of the obsession with working out and how we're so obsessed right now with it. It's a bit of that, of how like it's not even, I feel sometimes not about us being healthy, it's about us doing it, because if we don't do it, there's a bit of less value of who we are. So I'm not saying that you're going through that, obviously, because you always being like really like and I think since I know you work out a lot because for your health as well. It's not obviously like it has like an impact in your physicality and you're happy with the result, but you've never been like driven by whatever, like you know, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have this on my body. It's more about like your mental health as well and all of that.
Definitely.
But I think like it's interesting what you say about like maybe like that fighting within yourself about doing or not, and it's like why you're doing those classes or like all this type of things, you know what I mean?
I think it's like, once again, to go back to that point you made about like capitalism and money, it's like, really, I think I'll try to find this and like we can put it in the notes below, but I remember listening to a podcast years ago, and this is something that stuck in my mind, but it was a kind of concept designed by this woman, and she was on this health podcast kind of talking about this probably like 8 years ago or something. Wow. And it's called the grandma principles to health. And she was saying basically that like she kind of like calls bullshit on all of this, and she was like, honestly, all we need to do is sleep 8 hours, have good quality water. You don't even need to follow like a vegan diet. You just need a lot of plants in your diet, minimal processed food, and move. And that's it. Like she was like, you don't need all the supplements. You don't need to do the ice dunking or whatever, and all of these different things. That's honestly, you know, I think she calls it the grandma principles because obviously that's what our grandparents would have done. They would have walked more. They would have been like in their garden doing things more physically, sleeping, and they wouldn't have been like worrying about like magnesium or vitamin D and like all of that stuff. So I think that once again, why has all of this stuff come out? It's come out because to spend money to because there's something wrong with you and you need to spend money on like all of this stuff.
And I do feel like I think the problem is what it's really interesting what you say, because I think the problem is like each day we feel more and more that we have to do these things to be healthy, and it shouldn't be we have to, it should be like an option to. So I'm doing all the things you mentioned before. I'm sleeping a lot, I'm drinking a lot of water, eating all my plants and whatever, and then there's other things I can do to enhance my body, to enhance my health. Like, oh my god, I'm feeling low of energy, I'm gonna work out to have more energy. So there's like things we should have the option to do, and that should be totally fine. Like you love your like hot yoga, you look like Pilates, you whatever, you do it. But the thing is, like, it feels nowadays like it has to be like it's something you have to do because it adds you value to it. I don't want to go too much in the article. We're talking about this girl that has like she has like a disease, so she cannot work out and she cannot be as society expects her to be with working out and being healthy and all that, because she has a health issue, doesn't allow her to do it. Fine, right? She was talking a bit about how her value as a person was always being like jeopardized or being like diminished because she cannot able to work out. She's not in that category of a person. You know? And that reminds me as well a bit, we talked about Jamila Jamil, that she mentioned like Jamila Jamil is a presenter and like actress and activist from the UK, and she's spoken a lot about how for her, because she has like trauma and like
previous eating disorder, right?
It's like how hard for her to work out, and how for her she's trying new ways to get into the working out because for health and not feeling judged. But she talks a lot about how all of this trend, weirdly, it makes you feel that you are better or worse the more you work out or not. Like if you the better, like let's say
the best,
quote, the better is your body, like the more muscle and the more slim you are, you have a bigger value.
Yeah.
And the more you are into all of this working out and like all these things, you have more value than others, and that's how it's turning. We have this with these fitness people that sometimes we follow, because I think we don't have to mention we follow one that is really funny, but it's a bit of like this, I'm so superior and valuable in life because I work out and I do this in my life and I woke up at 5 a.m.
Exactly.
And it's all the value on me.
And like you're just making an excuse because you don't have my body. But actually,
it's a bit like religion. It's a bit like the church, but of like, because it's a church being you're big because you're doing this and that. But like in a fitness war.
I think I find this quite difficult to relate to. I will be honest. I'm struggling a little bit because I think I'm not on that level of that like influencer that we're talking about. Yeah. I do have to say and be really honest and say I do find it difficult to understand why people don't work out. And that's really harsh for me. It's just because I really don't want to sound like horrible, or I'm really aware of that. And I've listened to Jamila speak about that kind of stuff, and I completely understand like where she's coming from. I think it's really ingrained in me, and maybe in us in general. I think also like my family is super fitness. Like my dad worked out his whole life. My mom is super into fitness. They're all like, my granddad is an athletics trainer. Wow. I've never not worked out. Like I was a competitive swimmer when I was a kid. So it's literally like cleaning my teeth. And I don't mean that to say like I'm so amazing, I work out all the time. Like no, not at all. But it's so ingrained in my it's just something that I just wouldn't do. If I couldn't work out, I would be devastated.
I understand.
Like it's would be like not traveling or something, you know. And I do find it, when you were talking, I was like, God, I think I have like a lot of prejudice about this, because I do find it, I understand why people can't, but I don't know. I feel really bad.
No, it's not feeling bad at all, because I think this is a really interesting thing, because the way you are bringing this is like interesting because it comes ingrained in your upbringing, and for you working out is natural. But the thing is, and I think for you it's natural because you grew up with that.
True. Yeah.
But with other people, like, and I think that's why I was reading as well, like you say you feel really bad if you couldn't work out because for you it's natural. But what happened with people that naturally they cannot work out because they have a disease?
True.
And they feel judged by people. It's not your case because for you it's natural, because but it's not like, oh my God, you need to work out because you need to have a six-pack. It's not your approach. But what happened to those people that they are basically not able to do it? I think what really bothers me is like when I see people like these influencers or whatever, and like being so like, you know what bothers me?
Yeah.
Value around that. I don't find interesting at all people talking about their workouts, how proud they are, how many kilometers they did. It's like, I don't know why I don't find that impressive for me. Okay. That you can tell me like, oh my God, I was doing like 1 hour in the machine? Treadmill, like 1 hour on a treadmill, and I was lifting all these kilos, and I'm going 5 times a week to do my Pilates class. It's like, for me, I don't find like why people has to be so proud of it, unless you have a situation or you have a disease or you have a problem that not a problem, like you have a situation that your body doesn't allow you to work out a lot. That would be like, wow, well done, wow, fuck that you're really doing for it. But if you're a person that you has abilities, for you it's okay and easy to work out, I don't find that impressive.
You find it normal then, in that case. You find it normal to work out. What about when people are like doing triathlons and stuff like that? Are you like, wow?
That's interesting. I find that could be wow. That could be like people training for doing like exactly, like
Ironman or something.
Ironman or swimming, I don't know how many meters because you want to help a charity. That's impressive. It's not like it's not impressive. It's just like the day-to-day like pride and finding like a lot of like a personality, like a lot of the personalities around how much you work out. I found that like so interesting. I find like why you're so proud of that. I don't know why why anyone will care. And I think that's why it is a bit more like, this is why I don't care a lot of people when they post a lot of social media when they go to the gym and the workouts they do. And like, oh my God, I went to the gym today, I love this, all of this and all of that. I find like Why is this relevant?
What about when people go on a weight loss journey?
Okay, that's interesting because I think like maybe
Healthy.
like
I don't know if we're getting like Frenchy sounds in the background.
That's him. The weight loss journey. I think that's maybe more interesting because there's like a goal of like, I think that no, actually, you have a goal and like losing weight for a lot of people is a challenge. It's not easy. It's easy to put weight on and not to lose weight on. Even if you really want to lose weight, I know like it takes a long time for your body to change shapes and all of that. And I think that could be quite interesting because you need to change your habits. You need to change how you do. Maybe you need to start working out more. And maybe like I understand the psychological impacts of it, all of that. And it's like more, I find that more like going to a triathlon or something like that, you know?
Okay.
That doesn't bother me.
It's interesting. I have to say I can't agree with you.
Okay.
This never happens to us. It's so awkward.
Tell me more.
I don't know what it is. I think I need...
I'm going to see a picture of you training. But you're not the type of person who put like a lot of like...
No.
Not the gym.
I sometimes do like a hot yoga picture if, you know, cute. Whatever. Yeah, I can't agree with this.
Okay.
For some reason. I think just when you were talking, I was just looking at you thinking... I don't agree with him.
Let's start the drama.
I think I do. I'm just trying to think. Like, I do follow some fitness girlies, like Pamela. Love Pamela.
Yeah. That's her job, obviously.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Not like too many. I think maybe I follow a couple of other. There's one that more like yoga, Pilates kind of thing, and I find it very inspirational. And also sometimes, you know, my boyfriend follows some like, you know, Spanish fitness influencer guys or whatever. And he's showing me stuff and I find it quite interesting. I think that there can be, that's a whole nother topic, but the whole Instagram fitness industry thing can be like, you know, super bullshit and God knows what they're like pumping into themselves and all of that stuff. But I do find it quite interesting. Do I give those people more value? I don't think so. But I do think it's quite cool. When I hear about someone working out, I tried that new class, when you tell me like, I went to Reformer Pilates, I'm like, oh yeah. Not that anyone has anything to prove, but I think I find fitness quite interesting.
But talking about it every day, I mean... Like
it depends to the degree. Of course, I think as we all, like we do mention it in passing, like, hey love, like I'm going to my class. Or, oh my God, that class was so hard. Or, oh wow, Pilates was really hard. Like, if you're telling me like, Claire, I lifted so much iron this week and I ate some chicken, or I would be like, all right, get a grip.
Like I'm getting so strong, you have no idea.
Protein shake.
It's like raw eggs in the protein shake. You have no idea how that deal, mate. Yeah, that's different. I think that's more. Degree. I think that's a bit more of that. Yeah, that I'm referring to. And if I see
people starting to like if you told me like, you know, I don't know, like changing their life too much to meet their fitness goals, I would think like it's okay, like, you know, I love to work out. I also like to have a glass of wine or like whatever. Like I think that's okay. Yeah. And I think where it goes a bit extreme on like the fitness influencer thing, which is of course like a fake world anyway. Like it seems like really not, you know, not real and very extreme. Yeah. But I have to say I do find it quite inspirational and I do find it quite interesting. Value adding, not necessarily, but I do think it's a green flag in a person when they work out.
Interesting.
I won't be like, you're a better person than that person because you work out and you don't. And I won't think like, oh, you're pathetic because you don't work out, for example. No, I don't want to think that.
I understand where you come from.
But I do find it interesting.
Yeah, I understand where you come from because I think the good side of all of this is like, if you tell me you work out, it's like, oh, well, probably you take care of your health or you take care of your body. Yeah. You're mindful of like different things. I think the positive side of it is really positive. It's like, oh, if you're doing all these things, probably you take care of your food, you take care of that. So all of these things are good. I think maybe like I'm thinking more of like when people are really obsessed with it. It's more concerning for me, like concerning. So like I'm concerned every day about this, not really, but you know, like like the obsession with the fitness and like how it's turning into like a serious thing, and some people are getting all these like worries if I cannot do all these workouts and if I cannot do all of these things, I'm not okay. I'm not like up to what it should be, you know, like this idea of if you want to be like a perfect or like a really good like adult person, you need to work out, you need to do all these things. It's one more thing to your to-do list, right? And I found it interesting, like which you kind of touch on your previous in the previous episode, like how a lot of people maybe they're sacrificing their social life, which I think it's like when it's getting complicated, when you stop doing things that you love, or you stop seeing people you love because you have this such a maniac working out like routine. So have you ever felt that you need to, so what's your priority in working out? Like what are you willing, or how often maybe you're willing to cancel a plan because you need to have that class? And I'm asking this because I'm thinking about this lately, and I'm kind of like being more like, I will not plan something tonight because I want to actually go to the gym. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I will. I think what I'll do is like I'll look at my week, and I like to work out like 5 times a week. Yeah. So I'll try to make sure that I can, if I don't know, like I actually, to be honest, to answer the question, I will maybe cancel a plan or not cancel a plan.
Don't you dare cancel on me because you're a fucking workout class. Like, I'll be like,
I can't come out. No, rather than cancelling, because I hate to cancel, I'll try not to say like, I'm really sorry, that week's really busy, because one day actually I don't have a plan. I'm actually doing a workout class. So I'm like, I'm not doing a plan. The plan is working out. One thing I would say is that you can do both though, because my friend Emma and I, we probably go to a class. We're both on ClassPass together once a week. So that's like perfect. And we're seeing each other, catch up, and we do like a Pilates
that's
or
whatever. A really good idea of how to deal with this.
If you have a gym buddy, you could see your friend at the gym. That's one thing. Or I will try to, if I have like a really social week and I really want to see need to see everybody that week, or really want to see everybody that week, I will try to do what we were talking about in last week's episode and try to get an earlier class. So I'll try to make sure that I go at like 8:30 or I go at lunchtime, which is always like a bit of a rush, but I will do it in order to get my workout in. But I will not sacrifice my social life for working out entirely. Because I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be happy if I didn't work out, and I wouldn't be happy if I didn't have a social life. So you need a balance. A balance. How about you? Balance. Are you finding yourself?
No, I think lately, because I'm thinking like trying, as we spoke before, I'm trying to be a bit more disciplined with working out and things like that. So I'm trying to like, if I need to cancel or move a plan because it's the only day I can do this workout, which is the one I think I have missing for this week, for example, if I have to do it, I will do it. I'm thinking more about that, like, oh, let me maybe move it, or I just move it for the next week and that's it, because I want to like work out.
Okay.
Because I need that to kind of like.
And how many times are you working out per week?
I'm trying to do at least 4.
Okay.
3 is my sweet spot.
So I have higher value because I do 5.
Exactly. For a lot of people, for a lot of people, probably you have more value to me because you do 5. A lot of people will be like, "Oh my gosh, she does 5. She's on it. She's a valuable member of society."
Because I was being really serious, and he was like.
But it's true, like for some people you have, so
4 times a week is amazing. And I also think it's what's key is always like making sure, because I think you were kind of touching on this at the beginning of the episode, like you have to enjoy it. I remember hearing that once, someone said like there's no point like crying through that spin class that you hate. I hate spinning. I hate it. I don't do it. So because that's not going to make, you might burn 400 calories, but you're going to be really unhappy. Exactly. So you have to do things that you enjoy.
And that's part of this fitness obsession, that we don't know what we do things, or because we see online, or because we don't know what to do. So, oh my God, people are telling me that I need to work out to be, which no, maybe for you workout is just walking a lot.
True.
And that's perfect, you know?
Do you enjoy the gym? Do you enjoy being in the gym on your own?
I do. I don't like to go like a lot of like group classes. I prefer to go on my own.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think the gym is the most aesthetic and nice place to be in the world. And it smells a bit. And it has a bit of like sweaty people smelly, like a bit of a carpet.
Yeah.
You know, the gym smell is not my favorite, but I do enjoy when I get into the routine, and like, because at least if I'm an hour there, I will feel like more energized after. So kind of you get into it, but you need to get into it.
But you've been doing some classes recently.
Yeah, I'm doing some classes. I then like some Pilates and like yoga. So you kind of like
freshen up.
You know, sometimes, this is very judgmental, of course, but sometimes I feel like there's maybe some fitness personalities or fitness influencers or some people in real life. I mean, they're in real life, but you know what I mean? Like, for me, they seem to have no personality. Or not personality. They seem to have a goal. So fitness turns into their goal. So their body, and kind of like goes hand in hand of like fitness obsession of like,
that's interesting.
I don't have another goal or purpose in life, so I'm going to focus on myself and my fitness because it's the only thing I can control and I can feel like I'm moving forward.
Interesting.
This is not something clearly that we have. It's like we don't have because we are so superior. No, it's because we have like passions and we have this project. You have your projects, I have my project. So we have so many other things. So clearly fitness is not our case.
Yeah.
But that's a whole thing happening as well. Some people that maybe they don't know what to do with their life, so they just put their life on working out and fitness.
Interesting.
To find a purpose and a goal.
I actually once again don't agree.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. But that's the thing. It's not something I'm saying.
It's so funny. I don't agree because I always think of people like, if I can think of like people were popping into my mind that are like super into fitness, but they also have like, I think of, you know, people that have these really high flying careers and they're like I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to run that marathon. I'm going to have the high flying career. I'm going to ace it. I'm going to have my family and all of that. Do you not find that goes quite, do you not find like some really successful, whatever successful means, successful like people are really into fitness as well? Like I'm thinking like, you know, the kind of like banker, kind of lawyer type.
But I think because they don't have any other outlet. That's a problem. For me, like the only outlet is working out.
But that's not
which
ambition.
Which is not bad.
Because you said ambition.
No,
so
ambition,
said, like,
not only ambition. No, I didn't say ambition.
No?
I was like, I said goals.
Put that finger away.
I said like goals or like purpose or things like, I'm talking more about the purpose. Like, when maybe people that don't have a more purpose, and this may sound judgmental, but there's nothing more apart from their maybe...
You're like, they're vacant.
They're boring as fuck. This is very true.
And
workout, it becomes... But I mentioned this, not just for me judgmental. It's just because I read something that actually kind of made me change a bit my perspective of this, because I'm very judgmental on this. It's like these people have no other hobbies, no other passion, no other things, so the only thing they have in their life is working, to go to work and go to work out.
I understand what you're saying now.
It's kind of like that's the only thing that happened in their lives. It's like wow, there's like, I felt for me that's really empty place to be, because I feel like life has so many other things, like I don't know, read a book. Apparently this happens a lot when people maybe they're going through a rough period of life, that you're depressed or maybe break up, someone died, whatever. So you need something to lift you up and give you a new purpose. And getting into classes works out. Like all of this is a perfect solution. True. Which I was like, yes, very true. It's true. And this is this quote, which I couldn't find who said this quote, by the way. I saw it on Instagram. I don't know who said that, but it was a really good quote. Really simple. But it says like, if you don't have a purpose at the moment, make yourself the purpose.
Oh, that's lovely.
So this is and this was connected to like, maybe if at the moment you are like, okay, I'm going through a breakup and I'm really depressed, I'm really sad, everything is falling apart. What's going to be my purpose now? So turning yourself into purpose, like taking care of your health, working out, going to the classes, and make it more about you. Sure. That's, if you don't have any other purpose like career or like hobby or any other purpose, turn it into yourself. Okay,
so fair. That's and then when things can grow positively from that. And
that's why, like, I get this. I get this why people like, maybe they are so into like working out, wellness, fitness and things like that, because they turn themselves into purpose to kind of like flourish into a new interesting version of themselves. So I found that really interesting. I felt like that's an interesting take.
Was there something that made you think about this topic? Like, was there someone that you saw that you were like, apart from the influencer that we obviously talk around, but was there something, because that's their job, but was there somebody in like everyday life that you were like, oh my God, you're going on about the workout so much?
I don't know, it's someone in particular. I think I have met people in the past that they really maybe sacrifice a lot of things, and everything they can talk about is about fitness. And I find that really boring because I don't know, when I sit with my friends, we talk about any other type of thing. It's not like, this is not like, oh, I'm better or not. People like what they like. Obviously, this is my liking. You know, if you like sports, to say you grew up with a lot of sports, so it's I don't know if it's a passion of yours, but you really love it. And for some people, talking about sports the whole day, that's their passion, and that's fine. True. I just find them I find it boring. I cannot talk about one thing. I don't know if it's one person, but I think it's been happening for a really long time. I think the mix with the social media and everything like this, like, I'm better if I do it. That kind of bothers me. And it's kind of like, from all the things that you can do and you think they're better, like working out is one of them. I mean, it could be a part, you know what I mean?
I think I do. I need to think more about this topic. Because I think,
it's just like, you're not like that. That's the thing. At all.
But maybe I do go on about working out a lot. Because actually at work, they often say to me, like, are you going for a class?
No, but you don't go on. That's the thing. Like, you tell me you're going to a class, this and that. And I think we talk the right amount of it. I never felt...
It's true. And I'm not into fitness. Like, just to be clear, like, my family is super into sport, but I don't speak about, like, football or anything like that with them. I think I grew up in that environment, and also people individually doing a lot of fitness.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not interested in, like... I can't tell you who's, like, winning the league and the, you know... What's it even called? The championship or whatever here. The
good,
FA,
which
whatever.
is nothing bad, you know, at the same time. It's just like... I never had a moment in my life that I'm like, oh, Claire is being boring about this... Because you don't... I think for me, you don't even talk too much about it. You don't talk much about it. But maybe because we don't have
I find it natural. That's the thing. Because I wouldn't ever talk about it that much unless there's something like, wow, that class is really hard. Oh, I went to this really fun new thing. Oh, I think you'd love Pilates, something like that.
Which is very cool.
But because it's not that special. If you're somebody who doesn't like to work out or you feel uncomfortable in those spaces, like... please don't feel like attacked, and I think that there is something for everybody. You know, whether that's working out like at home alone, if you're more comfortable, whether it's like walking, dancing, anything. It doesn't have to be the typical
dancing. This never change more of like more my American English in your ears. It's like dancing. Yeah, sorry, it was just so funny. But yeah, so true, very good. Like. Our value is not based on that. That's definitely... No,
our value is not based on our body, you know? It's based on so much more and everything that we are, you know? So just to kind of leave that, because I think this can be maybe a slightly like triggering...
It could be,
conversation.
Definitely, yeah.
We don't want to trigger anyone. We just want to have a cute podcast.
A cute podcast with a cute dog now.
He doesn't want to come in. He's like, he's done. He's done.
So anyway, thank you very much, familia. Yeah. Thank you for joining this episode. Definitely. Thank you for your thoughts, Claire.
You're welcome.
You also let me like a lot of room to think.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you next week, familia. Bye bye.